Over the past 3 decades, he has successfully coached and trained leaders in Africa, North America, and Europe. His passion for leadership enhancement was born out of his experiences as a cadet in the US Military Academy at West Point, and as a military officer serving in combat in the Sierra Leone Civil War, where he was shot twice. As the only Sierra Leonean with a PhD in leadership, Dr. Modupe was the founding dean of the African Leadership University School of Business, an institution providing a Pan-African MBA degree to Africa's mid-career professionals. He is the founder and CEO of BCA, Business Club Africa, an organization that has impacted more than 2,000 African leaders with coaching and knowledge sharing services. He leads a team of 32 coaches across Africa, and he is the curator of the Made in Africa Leadership Conference. Dr. Modupe, welcome.
Thank you so much, Michael. Let me just do a quick volume check. Can you hear me clearly? Wonderful. Wonderful. So thank you very much, Michael, and thank you to Eileen and the entire team at CDI, especially Sarah, who has done a wonderful job of keeping us on track in terms of the preparation for this conference. Let me offer my congratulations to each of the graduates for not only graduating from this, but frankly, for being these early adopters. And I suspect that a decade from now, your names will be immortalized as the GCI becomes as common as probably the iPhone is today amongst leaders. I also want to give glory to God for convening us this way, and quite frankly, for answering the prayers of many of us to use us as vessels to lift up people from lives of poverty and despair. I have been given the opportunity to share some thoughts on scaling leadership effectiveness through coaching. And quite frankly, being the keynote speaker at an august event like this is frankly intimidating. So please bear with me if I'm a little nervous and mumble or jumble over my words, because I recognize that I'm seated with others who have achieved heights that I can only aspire to. But I will try to do justice to this invitation by sharing a few of my personal reflections. And I'd like to start with a question for all of us. What would the world look like if a majority of the people living right now were to achieve their goals before they die? What would your organization look like if every member of your organization were equipped and empowered to achieve their dreams? Think about that. Les Brown, an American politician, once said, "The graveyard is the richest place on earth because it is here that you will find all the dreams that were never fulfilled." I suspect that based on that standard, graveyards in Africa are probably wealthier than graveyards in Scandinavia. See, folks, today we have leadership challenges. These leadership challenges manifest themselves in joblessness, corruption, poverty, underdevelopment, wars, refugees. And we have these problems because the vast majority of leaders in the world, and that means people like you and I, do not have regular access to coaching. Let me illustrate this with my personal experience. From 2004 to 2010, I had a coach. During that time, under my leadership, a struggling $20 million logistics company in the United States of America, where I was living, went from losing $2 million a year to a profit of $500,000 a year. In 2010, I moved with my family back to Africa. From 2010 to 2015, I did not have a coach. During that time, under my leadership, I started 3 businesses, one of which barely survived, and 2 of which were spectacular failures. Now, seriously, did I just become stupid because I moved to Africa? I think not. In 2016, I found my senses and reacquired a coach. And from 2016 to today, under my leadership, a new Pan-African MBA program called the African Leadership University School of Business was launched, one of the first programs to actually use coaching to support its MBA learners. Also, a Pan-African leadership organization called Breakfast Club Africa was launched that today, as Michael stated, has impacted over 2,000 leaders through a network of 32 of the world's best African coaches. I just wish I hadn't wasted those 6 years without coaching. Not only did I make suboptimal decisions, but I also didn't coach the people I was leading. What an opportunity missed. So how do we increase access to coaching? How can you increase access to coaching? Well, 2 things. Number 1, get a coach. If you are listening to this launch and you don't have a coach, please, for the sake of the people who depend on you for leadership, get a coach. Number 2, learn how to and coach your team. Adopt coaching as a leadership style. Once again, for some of us, that means get trained as a coach. And there are world-class training companies that can do that, headed by CDI-Africa, which is one of the reasons why BCA, Breakfast Club Africa, entered into a strategic partnership with CDI. You see, we've all talked about coaching in different ways. For me, coaching is a Socratic process of supporting a leader to achieve her or his goals. In coaching, the coach focuses on asking the right questions rather than giving the answers. This is akin to the transformation of going from leading followers to leading leaders. Now, I could talk until I'm blue in the face about how having coaching and being trained as a coach has helped to scale my leadership and to scale the number of coaches out there. But let me illustrate it with a very personal example in one organization that I hold very dear, which is my family. My wife of 23 years and I are blessed with 3 children, a boy and 2 girls. The boy is the oldest. His name is Chinua. He's almost 22 years now, old now. Now, Chinua is very much a thinking person and an intellectual. Many of you have heard through the introduction that I was also blessed to have attended the United States Military Academy, where I learned a lot about leadership, and I will always be grateful. So like any father that wants the best for his child, I started to encourage Chinua to consider applying for a place at West Point. And I was directing him, and I was suggesting to him, and I was telling him this. In other words, I wasn't using a coaching method. And I was trying to get Chinua to drive towards my goals. Little did I realize that Chinua wasn't interested in West Point. And eventually, that started to cause a bit of a fraying in our relationship. And it wasn't until one day when I overheard him mimicking me and complaining to one of my sisters that I realized I wasn't going about it the right way. So I put a pause on it, and I started to ask, what do you want? Where do you want to go? I'm happy to report that in 2017, Chinua followed the path towards his goals. And even though he did not follow the path that I had envisioned, but in the next 6 months, he will be graduating after having attended 3 different universities from a university in California. But get this, the things I had wanted for him, his ability to grow as a leader, to become mature, to become responsible, he has actually achieved, but he's done it his way. Postlude to that story is that he revealed to me that he is actually interested in working in Africa, in a Francophone country, because he wants to improve his French. He's going to be graduating with an economics degree. And through a number of events, we were able to connect him to somebody in Guinea who's looking for someone, a young person, to teach English as a foreign language. Now, after January, Chinua has only 1 class before graduation. And like the doting father I am, my first reaction was, well, he can take that class online. He can start on January. This is the perfect thing. We should get him going. And I was about to start on that road, and then I remembered, you're a coach. So I took a step back and we said, what do you want to achieve? He hasn't made up his mind yet as to whether he will start in January or in July. But I know this, Chinua is well on his way to achieving his goals. And that makes me a better father and leader. So when it comes, folks, to scaling leadership effectiveness through coaching, I have lived it. I suspect many of us on this call have similar stories. And my clarion call to all of us is to equip ourselves, A, with a coach to help us in achieving our goals and holding ourselves accountable, and B, with the coaching skills so that those people who depend on us to be excellent in leadership can receive that excellence on a consistent basis. I love the quote that was given that what gets measured gets managed. And for me, I was one of the first to volunteer to take the GCI test. And I'm so looking forward to being able to have this tool for myself as a leader so that I can be able to measure that, but also to spread this tool throughout Africa. And I'm excited about the partnership with CDI. I'm excited about Africa's leaders creating innovative tools that can not only improve leadership in Africa, but all over the world. And because of this, I offer my congratulations again to Eileen and to CDI. And I offer my encouragement to every one of you. If you haven't taken this index yet, please sign up for it. Because if you are serious about becoming a leader, then you need to have an objective, measurable tool that gives you an indication of how you are progressing as a leader. Together, we can create that world in which a majority of people are achieving their goals before they die. Together, we can make the graveyard lose its title as the wealthiest place in the world. I'm in. I invite all of you to join. Thank you very much.